Imagine a well-intentioned move to slash your energy bills that ends up lining the pockets of the wealthy while sabotaging the planet's future. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? That's exactly what experts are warning about Chancellor Rachel Reeves's proposed 5% VAT cut on electricity bills. A plan that's sparking heated debate over fairness, the environment, and political strategy. But here's where it gets controversial. This seemingly straightforward fix could actually widen the gap between rich and poor, all while derailing the UK's vital climate goals. Stick around as we unpack why this idea might just be a ticking time bomb and explore some smarter alternatives that could make a real difference. At its core, Rachel Reeves is eyeing a quick way to lighten the load on household budgets amid soaring living costs, which have fueled the rise of populist parties like Reform UK. The proposal involves scrapping the 5% value-added tax on electricity bills, a move that's simple to grasp and implement. According to estimates from the charity Nesta, this could save the typical UK household around £86 annually, offering a direct boost to consumers struggling with inflation. Energy Secretary Ed Miliband has acknowledged the dire affordability crisis gripping the nation, noting that the government must navigate this while grappling with tight fiscal constraints. It's a bold step, but as we dive deeper, you'll see why it's far from the silver bullet it appears. And this is the part most people miss. Who really stands to gain the most? Critics, including former government advisor and London School of Economics visiting professor Tim Lunig, argue that this tax reduction would disproportionately favor those in larger, more luxurious homes who rack up bigger electricity bills. Think of it like this. A family in a spacious detached house might save hundreds of pounds a year, while someone in a modest flat sees only a small dent in their costs. Lunig didn't mince words, calling it a terrible idea that would primarily benefit the affluent, and even went so far as to question Labour's credibility as a party focused on economic equity. A former Energy Department official echoed this sentiment, pointing out that true fairness demands the wealthiest shoulder more of the burden, something this policy would fail to deliver. For beginners wondering why this matters, consider progressive taxation. It's the idea that taxes should be structured so that those with higher incomes contribute more to society, ensuring resources flow to where they're needed most. This VAT cut flips that on its head, potentially exacerbating inequality at a time when the UK is facing a massive £30 billion budget shortfall. But wait, there's more. Here's where it gets really tricky, and opinions are sharply divided. Experts fear this move could ramp up carbon emissions by encouraging households to use more electricity without thinking twice about the environmental toll. In a world racing towards net zero, where countries aim to balance greenhouse gas emissions with removals by 2050 to combat climate change, this is a major concern. By making electricity cheaper, people might crank up the heating or charge more devices, undermining the UK's commitments to sustainability. Plus, there's the international angle. The EU mandates a minimum 5% VAT on energy bills, so the UK going it alone could strain relations and invite backlash from European partners. Is this short-term relief worth the long-term global fallout? It's a question that's dividing policymakers and environmentalists alike. Reeves, gearing up for her pivotal budget on November 26th, isn't just tossing this around in isolation. She's weighing it against her pre-election pledge to cut energy bills by £300 overall, and she's got a fiscal hole to fill without alienating millions of voters. Yet, this VAT cut isn't the only tool in her toolbox, far from it. Some insiders are pushing for a different approach, stripping most green levies off electricity bills and shifting that £3 billion annual cost to general taxation. Schemes like subsidies for renewable energy projects and the Great British Insulation Scheme would then be funded through income-based contributions, rather than hitting everyone the same based on their bill size. Supporters argue this would better counter Reform UK's vow to ditch green levies entirely and abandon net zero targets, while making the system fairer. For instance, imagine if your tax dollars helped fund insulation upgrades for homes across the country, reducing energy waste and lowering bills for everyone in the long run. It's a win for equity and the environment. But here's the controversial twist that could change everything. This alternative might force Reeves to rethink her manifesto promise against raising income tax, given the yawning deficit. And there's another layer. Some experts, like Nesta's Director of Sustainability Madeleine Gabriel, suggest redirecting any remaining levies to gas bills instead. This could lower the cost of electricity relative to gas, incentivizing homeowners to switch to climate-friendly heat pumps over traditional gas boilers. As Nigel Topping from the Climate Change Committee explained in a BBC interview, aligning electricity and gas prices is key to making sustainable choices economically viable. Picture this. At the end of a boiler's life, opting for a heat pump becomes a no-brainer financially, accelerating the UK's shift to greener energy. Yet, critics worry this could complicate things further, potentially increasing gas usage in the short term if not handled carefully. Finally, Reeves could look to the past for inspiration, like when former Chancellor Rishi Sunak handed out £400 rebates to every UK household in 2022. It proved popular at the polls, but detractors warn it's pricey and logistically messy to roll out. So, as we weigh these options, the big question looms. Is a blanket VAT cut a band-aid solution that masks deeper problems? Or could it be tweaked to work? What do you think? Does Reeves risk alienating her base by prioritizing the planet over quick wins? Or is this the pragmatic path forward? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe in sacrificing environmental goals for immediate relief? Or should fairness and sustainability take the lead? Let's spark a conversation.